In the following tutorial, we're going to take a look at adding sounds to our game. Now, this is really going to make our game a lot more exciting. So, in order to find sounds, of course, you might need to do some Google searching and see if you can find some sounds. You can also go to the Digital Media website, go to Resources and Links, and Royalty-Free Audio Video, and you'll find a list of really nice sound effects websites. And if you find a good website that has great sound effects, go ahead and send me the link and I can add it here as well. Now, the problem with finding sound effects is sometimes you find sites like this where you can preview the sound but you can't download it. So here's what it sounds like.
Preview.
Now they have a voice in there that says preview, and the reason why is because they don't want you to use this sound. Of course, since we are using this only for educational use, you can use these sounds in your projects because we have educational fair use. But, of course, don't use these for commercial work. Anyway, if you have a sound like this that you need to download and you don't know how to, you can sometimes record it with the right software. So in Audacity, I can actually change it from microphone to stereo mix, and I can listen to the sound being played on the website and record it. And here's how. I can go back to record this. In Audacity, you'll see it's recording my voice. I'm going to turn down my speakers and then play the sound.
Hey, bada 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 sawing bada.
Preview.
Hey, bada 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 sawing bada. Kennedy.
Okay, now back in Audacity, you'll see that it has recorded that sound, and now I can go back and play that part that I want.
Hey, bada 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 sawing bada.
So there's the sound, and I'm going to just get rid of the parts I don't need. And I know I don't need from there on. And then I can do things like fade out this sound. So select the end and maybe fade it out. And then maybe take the whole sound and make it a little bit less loud. So I'm going to go to amplify, make it a little less loud. That way it's not too glaring. And then I can choose File, Export as Wave, and save that in my folder with my other sounds. So you can get your own sounds for your game by doing the same sort of method. Back in Flash, I need to import my sounds. So I go to File, Import, and I can import to the stage or library. It doesn't really matter. We'll select all those sounds, which are all waves, and I could import MP3s. And you'll see they've all come in my library, and it's a nice idea to go ahead and create a folder and then organize those into that folder. Now I'm holding down the Control key when I click on each just to select them all, and then I can drag them all at one time into the audio folder. Now that I've imported all my sounds, it's time to place the sounds on the timeline. Let's create a new folder, or new layer rather, and call it audio. And on that first keyframe, we can add the sound. So I'm going to go to Properties, go to Sound here, and choose the sound that I want, which is Take Me Out to the Ball Game, and the sync will be Start. And the difference between event and start is that events can allow you to play a sound multiple times overlapping each other, and start can only play one instance of the sound. So we definitely want start. Now, in the next game, we're going to create another folder or another layer called audio, and this one will be underneath actions as well, and this particular one will play our A batter sound, and that will be start. So he'll say A batter 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 as he starts the game. And at the end, I want the same thing again, audio. And this is going to play the crowd sound. Now, we're going to notice when we test this that there's some funny stuff going on. So let's just see what happens. Control, test movie. So it's playing the sound, and if I click on go on, now it's playing both sounds at the same time. And now it's playing all three sounds. Now if I go back, it's actually going to be almost adding all this stuff together. So here's what we actually need to do. If we go from the start scene to the game scene, then we want it to stop the music. So we need to create a new keyframe at the beginning of the audio, which actually stops the previous sound. So I'm going to take the existing frame and just move it over one frame, go to the frame that used to be there before, so we now have two frames next to each other. And I didn't use the Alt key, I just clicked and dragged. And I'm going to choose the old sound, which was the Take Me Out to the Ball Game music, and the sync will now be stop. Now when I go to the game end scene, it really doesn't matter if he's probably saying the A batter batter anymore, but we could stop that if we wanted to. I don't think it's really going to matter. However, what's really going to matter is when we go to the start scene, we want to make sure that it stops the crowd if we were on the crowd scene and go back to the beginning. So on the start scene, we're going to take that first frame, move it over one, go to the first keyframe now, and choose the crowd sound and set that to stop. So now if we test our movie with Control-Enter, it should only play one sound at a time.
Hey, bada 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 bada, swing, bada.
So that seems to work pretty well. Now the last thing that we have to do is add our sounds for our characters. Now we've got our two characters here. So if I double click on one of my characters, you'll notice that I already have a sound or audio layer. So I can go to where the hit state is, and I can add the bat that I want. And this is going to be an event sound. And now I can go to the second character, go to his hit state, and add the other bat sound. And I have now created a really nice sound effects and music, environment for my game, which really makes this much more exciting. So here's the final game.
Hey, bada 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 bada, swing, bada.
Now, if something is too loud, then you can go to something like the A bata bata. I can double click on this or go to the properties. And if I go to the properties, let's see, I think it's maybe advanced. I think actually I need to right click and do properties. Somewhere here I can actually change the volume. And I always forget this. I don't do it as much as I should be doing it. But there is a way for us to actually change the volume a little bit in here. I'm not going to worry about it right now. But that should really be the end of our Pong game. And I do want you to be aware that when you design your Pong game, you do want to start out with just static designs first. And then you want to kind of implement your designs to have the structure of the game that we have here, because this is probably going to be the easiest structure for you when you create your actual Pong game. And you can do so much with this game with your animated characters and everything else. And the nice thing about the structure of this game is that if we were ever to take this to an actual animated game where you have keyboard controls and everything else, it'd actually be pretty easy because all the animations are inside the individual characters instead of being on the main timeline. And so that means that we would be able to replace these animations with keyboard interaction, and then the functions for when it runs the animation of a hit would just be something that is initialized by a mouse click or something like that. So this is a really good concept for how to create a real game as well. Plus, it gives you a lot of practice in doing tweens in Flash, and I hope that you enjoy the PongScenes tutorials. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, that is it. So save your work, and I'll see you in class. Thanks.